Hello, hello, beautiful humans. Once again, thank you for joining Teach Jenn Tech. And today we have Jacob on the show. Jacob, please introduce yourself and what we'll be learning about today.
Hi, I'm Jacob Evans. It's there in the name. Uh, I'm also a little sick right now, so if I look a little haggard, that's the reason. And if any of you watching know me, you know I'm lying. So, anyways, we're gonna be learning about TypeScript. Um, I work at Cloudflare as a software engineer. I particularly work on the Cloudflare workers team on the workers CLI called Wrangler. It's written in TypeScript.
And the way that Jacob ended up on the show was me crashing Friday night, like Code and Life Twitter spaces. And one day it just came up. It's basically what happened. And he got stuck being on the show. And hello, Ben, and hello, Anthony. I Anthony was the second episode, and he was teaching me about React, and it's it's definitely something that I I feel like I've heard of TypeScript, but I'm still like, dude, it doesn't make any sense because everybody tells me how hard and difficult it is. So I've heard that a lot. That's like all I know about TypeScript. I don't know what TypeScript is. I don't know what it does. I know I think I know that it's something JavaScript and that it's really difficult and hard to learn. That's what I
Okay,
know about it so far.
okay. There's a lot of half truths in there.
Okay.
All right. First off, uh, it's what's called a superset language. So
Okay.
it is JavaScript at the end of the day. If you remove the whole type system, you have JavaScript, which is what the types the TypeScript compiler will actually do. It will strip out all the types and leave you with JavaScript to run. Most people don't see that part anymore because of a lot of the tooling and systems in place. I should
Uh
describe what a type is. That's fair, AJ. That's fair.
and hello Bakari as well. Yeah, what is a type? Let's go to the
Okay.
bare basics.
Yeah. It it is a way to describe what a thing is inside of the language. So you generally have something called primitives, your very lowest level, if I could. uh yeah. Thanks AJ. Um just giving out great comments. The primitives are very lowest level in a language. So you have things like string. You have things like a boolean, which is true, false. Your one and zero. You have also things that are slightly above the primitives. Well, let's just stick with those for now. So we have things like the object, the symbol, the boolean, the string. Um, I'm missing some, but this isn't an interview. Well, a job interview. Um, those things we can infer based off of what coding. Like if I'm writing const, this is a string equals quotations. Those quotations make it a string. And I could put a big old sentence or paragraph in that single string. So without TypeScript, if I just did that in JavaScript, JavaScript doesn't care about that until you really are running the JavaScript, and then it will throw an error if it's like, you know, let's say you write a bunch of stuff out and there's not quotes around it. It's not a string. Um, let's see what Ben Myers say. One way to think about it is that types. Oh, that's
No, go
a brilliant
ahead.
feature. Types is that to define all the possible values a variable have, and it excludes values that aren't permissible. Yeah, that's an excellent way to think about it.
I also Googled it, and a convenient way to refer to different properties and functions that a value has. A value is anything that you can assign a variable, a number, a string, an array, an object, and a function. So, and that
Absolutely.
is from TypeScript-tutorial.net.
Nice. Yeah. So first off, Ben, the typos, the grammars are okay. We're all human. We're gonna make
This is true.
mistakes. It's okay. Um, what you said about the types though was a banger. So you nailed it. Uh, yeah. So besides primitives, we have, like was mentioned just a moment ago, is like arrays, functions. These also could be typed, and the the awesome part about having uh, those things when you're coding is the information, the feedback you get when you're trying to like code a bunch of stuff out, and you don't want to have to like hold all those things in your head
Mm-hmm.
while you're trying to solve these complex problems. It's like a cognitive load that's just taken off of you and now handled by the type system.
I was also real quick because I didn't want to not say hi. Hi, Mac. Thank you for joining. We are inching towards 3 average viewers. We are slowly getting there. And what up, Cynthia? Thank you for joining. And let's see what. Oh, so Anthony, the link that Anthony shared. Let me grab that really quick so I can share my screen. So many clicks and make this. Oh, well, you just made it pretty. But it is cool going through the rest of it on what is TypeScript. Yeah, I don't know why it gave the random stuff at the end. And Mac, you always a start has net new viewers across all streams. Mac, okay. Well, um, I don't know if I should believe you because we haven't met yet. But then also, I'll go be a viewer. Share the knowledge and wealth. But back to TypeScript. Back to the TypeScript. So when people first get into TypeScript, like what is a reason that you would use TypeScript again?
Yeah. So the funny thing is types the TypeScript docs themselves are not great for entry level. They're focused on the type system and trying to get people, just giving them all that very technical reference information. Whereas like the initial strength value of TypeScript just comes from when you change the file from JS to TS, you get a lot of this just inferences and hints and auto suggestions. The other part that was a big overhead for a lot of people initially was setting it up. Like there was a lot of setup steps. Like you have to understand enough TypeScript to set up to the config. You needed to um, also like understand the build step, or the compile step between the TypeScript to JavaScript and what you were doing there with that configuration. But most of those problems uh, in recent times have disappeared. Most frameworks, most bundlers, a lot of tooling out there handle all that for you. They could still hand off the reins so that you can further tweak the environment as necessary, but you don't have to understand every little aspect of how TypeScript needs to be configured to just start getting the value of TypeScript immediately.
Couple questions there and some keywords. And what up, Nick? Um, I
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Siri would like to say hi as well.
Greetings.
Okay. Greetings to Siri. Something that I think that I need to take a step back on that I wish I understood and I think is a missing picture for me is there's compiler languages and then there's not compiler languages. I don't know what the difference is, but from what I understand is compiler languages are a lot more complex to use. I don't even remember if this was a stream or a meetup that a stream or a meetup that I learned about this.
All right, so this kind of comes back to the uh, unnecessary cognitive overhead. Um, you, for instance, you don't have to understand how like the L1 cache on your motherboard works to leverage the value of your PC. But some people really care about that stuff, and those people also tend to make really cool tools around that stuff. But unless you're planning on making those tools or you just want to learn that stuff out of curiosity, it's not necessary to get that in depth to use TypeScript. Again, at the end of the day, all the TypeScript compiler is doing is taking the types and removing them, and you got JavaScript. The funny thing is, you could just write JavaScript in the TypeScript files without any of the little colon assigning a type or the interfaces or the type keywords, and you're still going to get a ton of benefits from TypeScript.
I feel like to put you on the spot, can you share your screen and go through like some of the differences that you would see on, like, let's say, how like a visualization of what you're describing?
Yeah.
because I feel like that's a hard part of it too. Of like, I'm picking up what you're putting down, but like kind of like when we were in that Twitter space yesterday, that what Theo is describing with the funnels, I was like, I get it, but I don't get it. And that image really helped like solidifying it.
Yeah. Let's let me.
And now I put you on the spot.
All right. Should be able to see this. So
Can
this is
you zoom it in, please, so we can see it?
Nope, that's the opposite. All right. So this is like some of the TypeScript stuff you would normally see. It's somewhat simple, but on the right here you see that it's getting turned into just basic JavaScript. So let's see if I can wing something here. Just use this instead of retyping everything.
I'm watching on my full screen where it's much bigger, so I can see this. So oddly, and I don't know if it's counting to the numbers or not, but I'm like literally watching the stream to see the fonts. When you get a chance, can you make it a little bigger, please? Also, dark mode might help, per Anthony.
I don't know if this has dark mode. Does it have dark mode, Anthony? Do you know something I don't? Yeah, there we go. All right.
Can you zoom it in? I feel like it just like deleted the zoom that you just had.
No, it's still zoomed in quite a lot. Yeah, it's like 175%. Is that good?
Yeah, as long as I'm like looking at the other screen, I'm good. So let us know, everyone.
Alrighty. So something super let's see, basic here is like I'm writing JavaScript here. It's still JavaScript over here. If I do something where I'm like, hey, this is a number, which it could already infer, it's still JavaScript. it doesn't change what this was, right? We just get more information from the system, from the tools you're using. Okay, so if I don't assign this, right, I've now changed what this could be. I could also, I think, omit this and it'll still infer that. No, it doesn't. It just knows that you're going to make it a number. So that's a perfect example of like I could tell it what it's going to be. So count is going to equal some sort of number, and it's happy about that. It's like, cool, that is a number. You could do that. But if I said, hey, I want to make you a number, or actually, let's do better. Let's do this. Suddenly, it's like, nice try, bro. That's not a number. And you even get the error over here too. That's kind of cool. But the main thing here is you see that this is JavaScript. If I wrote this in JavaScript, JavaScript would just do this. That's what it would look like in regular JavaScript. So it's not going to yell at me. This is like the simplest example, like to show the immediate value that you get from TS.
We got a quick question. Is a transition from TS to JS done in browser, or is there a compile step of some sort?
There's a compile step.
And because we're using this TypeScript playground, that's why it's not showing like a compile step?
Yeah, that's happening for you here, which brings me back to my previous comment, which is most tooling is going to be doing that for you. Like, example, I work on the Cloudflare workers CLI called Wrangler 2, which is written in TypeScript, and it allows you to write your workers in TypeScript. But TypeScript can't run on the node runtime, which we have the workers runtime, edge runtime, and it uses node bindings and other compatibility stuff. Anyways, the thing is like you can't run like the let me do it. Like I can't, at the moment I do this won't run in a like JavaScript runtime because it's now a superset of JavaScript. It's something that sits on top of the what's called the ECMAScript, which is like the spec of JavaScript, and then they add all the type system on top. So it's built on top of JavaScript. It will never not like be JavaScript, but they could do whatever they want with the type system because that's just taken away at the end of the day when it goes through that compile step. But like with the workers, when you use that tool and you publish the worker, we do that whole compile step for you. You don't even know that that's necessarily happening. You just are writing TypeScript, getting all those benefits, and then sending your code up to run somewhere, and it magically is becoming JavaScript for you before it goes there.
Really quick, what is a worker? Other than it totally made me think. It totally made me think about like minors or something like that. And then we have another question of, does TypeScript also allow type checking at runtime or only at compile time?
Yeah, so it's always compiled away. It's JavaScript that's running at runtime. To answer the worker question, are you familiar with serverless functions and the edge?
No, because
Okay.
it's like, have I heard of them? Yes, I definitely have heard of it. Do I know anything you just mentioned? No. And what up, lunch?
All right. I'm gonna try to make like super condensed answer. Stop it, AJ.
I do know what a server is.
Get out of here. That's hilarious.
Yes, I got there. I'm like, Anthony, you basically know what I do know. Like,
That's so funny though.
I do know what a server. Well, on that note, like, how would I describe a server? Hmm.
So AJ's pushing the limit. AJ's just like, how far could I?
Okay, so if I were to describe a server, I would say the servers themselves are hardware that hold content, you could say. But like when a lot of people are thinking about servers nowadays, they think about like cloud and AWS and those type of things where they are cloud servers, but they're still technically on a hardware server somewhere.
Okay,
Is that
AJ,
any?
I expect next you're going to be asking how an electron works. Okay, stop. I'm only joking with AJ. No, these are great questions. Yeah, that's. I would say it's a great answer, but I'm not like one of those like highly like must be super technical or they're overly semantic. But serverless, yeah, that's about right. Like it's you're basically personally, I don't have a server in my room
Mm-hmm.
running a bunch of functions, uh, you know, when somebody requests some information. But that has to happen somewhere if you're not running it or you're not using a hosted service that's doing it in one particular spot. So what the edge is I don't want to just run it in one particular spot or maybe even have like a few major server uh, uh, locations globally. Maybe I want to have yeah, yeah.
I'm just pausing to get that response in there too.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So the edge is basically uh, running that code, so that serverless function
Mm-hmm.
on hardware that's as close to the user as physically possible. Now, currently that is like usually running on things like pops or colos, which are you could think of as like the equivalent of like electrical substations, where like the electrical substations are things that are like um, close to, say, like a large neighborhood or whatnot, and it helps store and boost the signal of the electricity. Uh, Pops or colos are also very similar in that way for uh, networks, and we could run code in those locations on that hardware, and that's generally was considered the edge. Now, the edge at the end of the day can be any hardware that's as close to the user that's requesting the information, that's like hitting that whatever that serverless stuff is. So, oh, I should probably close that. There we go. Um, I hope you all enjoyed looking at that very simple code snippet for like 10 minutes.
Wait,
Anyways,
we do have a couple comments and like working on explaining this too. Cynthia says a web worker is a JavaScript that runs in the background independently from other scripts without affecting the performance of the page from Web3 schools.
yeah, that's not a Cloudflare worker. That is an accurate definition of a worker in the browser.
And another one is, could a non-technical metaphor be like a local Amazon warehouse is stocked with most commonly purchased items for that area?
French kiss, or was that chef's kiss? Not French kiss. That's
I definitely think like that's a really good way of it explaining that. I do think I missed so a
yes,
Cloudflare worker is like a Netlify edge function.
yeah, or the lambdas on the edge, or um, Dino deploy. Cloudflare Vercel's edge functions. Yes, yes, they do. Look, it happens to be that Cloudflare tried this out first, mainly because we had the edge infrastructure for the other products that Cloudflare got really well known for. You know, like the CDN and the uh, optimized networking and DDoS support and stuff like that.
So I think the part that I am like, so I get edge, I get that part, but I'm missing what is serverless again? Because aren't all serverless things still servers on a
Yeah,
server somewhere?
it's a tad bit of a misnomer. It's serverless for you. So,
Okay.
say you're a company, normally, say like even 10 years ago, you would either be paying somebody else an exorbitant amount of money to be acting as your server, right? All the hardware that you need, the infrastructure for your products, your whatever it is, um, or you would buy your own hardware and then eat the maintenance cost. And uh, again, that for the most part, pushing that off onto somebody else where you don't have the servers, that's the serverless part.
So I'm gonna see if I can do a comparison based on my experience with GoDaddy. So if somebody's calling in to GoDaddy and they want to get a virtual server, that's technically serverless because it's virtual, and edge is where to pull the data, no matter where the data centers are, it would be edge would be pulling it. Like if there's uh I live in Colorado, so let's say GoDaddy is here and they had a data center in an hour away. They would do that before going to like Indiana to get the content.
I feel like you mixed some edge stuff slightly with some serverless stuff.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, again, like
Anthony said running a virtual machine is a little different from serverless because you need to pick the version of Linux you want. It is technically,
yeah, so that's the distinction between like if you were to go do DigitalOcean or one of these other services versus in specific, I'm just gonna write the code for the thing I want the server to do, and that's it. I don't care about the hardware at all. I just
okay.
want it to do the thing,
Okay.
right? I don't infrastructure, back end. Well, let's not say back end. Infrastructure, not not something I'm gonna worry about with
Okay.
serverless.
Cool. Makes enough sense. And I like the smartphones example, as well as the breakdown of we're talking about 3 different things. So, all right.
So I'm gonna hit on that. The edge currently does not involve IoT devices yet. Okay. Now, will we eventually run arbitrary code on IoT devices and maybe smartphones and the like? Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But currently the edge is going as far as like the equivalent of like somebody said warehouses closer to the user or electrical substations, but not as close as it like literally in your hands.
Okay. So we went over what a
Yeah.
server is, serverless.
TypeScript.
I'm going to bring it back to that. I'm going to bring it
No,
back to
it's
that.
all right.
Edge.
I love it.
So, what is a worker?
A serverless edge function.
Okay. Thank you. That's bringing it all the way back around.
Yep. Oh, full circle.
Full circle on that one. All right. So then could you re-explain what you would be using a worker for? Could you go through that again?
Oh, you can use them for just about anything you would do with a traditional server. They work particularly well with also like webhooks and event-based things. They function incredibly well as proxies, middleware, all kinds of stuff.
Okay. And how, like, I feel like it's just not clicking, but this also happened the first time I was going through Python too, where I was just like, dude, this is just not clicking at all. I'm thinking. I think just taking a step back. So, how did you first learn about TypeScript and having to understand it?
Oh boy. So I went to a coding boot camp, um, which is they were teaching uh, like different level courses. Um, Now, while I was there, what was popular was the mean stack and later Mern stack. And so we got into um, the Mongo, Express, React, Node.js, and one of the things that happened while I was there was this code editor called Atom that everybody was using was the most like popular thing at the time. It was like the open source, everybody loved it, it was extensible. And then I heard about VS Code because I was in Seattle when I was doing this coding boot camp. So people were going to meetups at like Microsoft places and Amazon locations and all kinds of stuff. And somebody had brought up VS Code, and I was like, I like trying new stuff. And one of the first things I noticed was like when I hovered over certain things, I got this feedback from VS Code, and I was like, what is this? Why is it telling me this is a number or a string? I already know that. And you saw that when I hovered over that stuff in the playground. Well, VS Code is written in TypeScript. So it will give you some of those benefits a little bit, the best it can, even in JavaScript. Um, so I had just kind of like dug into VS Code a little bit more, like looked into um, what was causing that extra information to show up, and found out about TypeScript. This is back at when like 4.5, 5 years ago, um, when people were arguing if Flow was going to be the next big uh, thing for types. TypeScript was just kind of coming up in the conversations. So yeah, that I I learned about it through just serendipity.
through
And
VS Code, kind of.
yeah, just somebody's like, "Hey, have you heard of this thing?" And I was like, "No, let me try it." And then I was like, "Oh, wow, what is this thing? Let me go look into that. Oh,
All
what is
right.
this language?"
That I get that. I get that. I think one thing that I really struggle on, and I don't know if we have enough time to do it today, but I would want to follow up on, is I guess going through an exercise of seeing TypeScript to JavaScript in, like what you were showing, because like that's just a good experience on seeing it. But then like for some reason, I don't even know if this clicks, but actually going through the process of typing it in JavaScript to get to the same point TypeScript took care of. So actually, because from what I saw is TypeScript at least made it a bit more, how do I say this? Uh,
Declarative?
no, I don't know. Like, okay, if you write in TypeScript, is it smaller amount of text itself than if you write it in JavaScript?
Mm, okay. So, yes and no. You
Okay.
you can, as I showed, just write JavaScript if you want. But if you were to start adding like the colons and defining the types and then creating uh, like uh, actual alias types, you're going to have a lot more text for sure. But that that overhead usually comes later in much more complex systems where
Hmm.
the inference from TypeScript can't always get the job done. Like you have to sometimes help TypeScript system know what's going on, and that's where the creating your own types or inlining types come in.
I think I'm just going to need to do like TypeScript 101 again, because this is something that is very, very difficult for me to wrap my head around in all of the differences that build into TypeScript.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say Python beginner Python was like way more confusing than the next time. I was like, oh, I'm starting to get it. Yay. So I feel like this might just be another one of those where I'm just like, this is a lot to take in. I will ask for everybody watching, like, what was your first experience with TypeScript too? Because is this something that like people just start to get right away, or is it like something that is normally pretty convoluted or confusing in general? Because I've heard that a lot with TypeScript. So I at least knew that going into it.
Yeah. Well, and like I mentioned before, the two pieces that usually cause that cognitive overhead at the beginning is people trying to understand the type system itself too much, like just jumping right into that deep end with no floaties. And the setups and the configurations and whatnot that have now been like abstracted away by a lot of these frameworks and other tools. So if you come at it with just the thought of I'm just gonna write JavaScript in this TS file, that's a really good place to start.
Interesting. All right. We do have a few comments of Roy was saying in response to Anthony, you have to handle the typing, so that takes more, but you save on the other side by not needing to write checks. Interesting. And Bakari said, it's a learning curve, even for experienced JavaScript developers. Thank God, because this stuff is like, I get what you're saying for like not wanting, like going to the deep end of like wanting to understand the types, Jacob. But I feel like at the same time, I'm like, but I want to.
That's a personal choice, Jen. Now, by all means, I also understand that kind of curiosity.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ben said back in college was taught Java, which is strongly typed language. So started hearing TypeScript and I was like, oh, people are cramming Java into JavaScript. Oh, I feel like I need to learn Java someday too. So I'm not.
No comment.
Cynthia has students write a Discord bot. Oh, that's Cynthia. You want to come on the show and let's write a Discord bot? Like that just sounds fun.
That's both awesome and savage.
Like Cynthia, I feel like even if we have to do it as like a multiple episode thing, that could be really cool. And then we go into lunchtime. Ben's less sold to learn Java. Anthony said, learning Java will only serve to make you like every other language in the world more. Fair enough. Cynthia, maybe we could just like you can have like a sticky note over your camera and then nobody would know. We could just like change your name. We could come up with ways for you to be on the show without people knowing that you're on the show. I don't know. I'm just winging that one. And yes, you guys are talking about lunch, which does make me giggle, but I am like super, super hungry too.
I have coffee.
Well, that's nice. Yeah. I don't.
Lunch.
Yes, Ben. Ben agrees. Cynthia, we got to do this, but we can just like. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The comments. All right. Well, I will say that I'm on brain overload for today. Like working on comprehending all of this. Is there anything else anyone wanted to ask about before we wrap up today? Give you a few minutes, do some random dances. I don't know if I've ever said, I have one of those bike pedal things underneath my desk, and I don't know if anybody ever hears it or can see me like randomly moving, but it's my new favorite thing. It's like having a fidget spinner, but for my legs to keep me busy and moving.
Yeah, so you don't have to just ask questions about TypeScript. You could ask about Cloudflare stuff, I suppose. Or I'm Roy. Stop it. Stop. All right. Joe Previtt has a great course coming out for TypeScript. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. How many I don't know. It's like down it's pretty long in this place. It's pretty long. It's pretty long.
As a super random side note, I guess not this week, but next week we will start live streaming our D&D campaign. So I'm excited about that. I don't know, if anybody else cares about it. I'm excited.
All right. So to further elaborate, we're having a Friday night D&D Dungeons and Dragons stream.
Space Hippo. I'm so excited about being a Space Hippo. Okay, please continue.
At 9:30 p.m. Central Time. Now, you're like, what campaign are you going to do? Spelljammer. We're going to be in space. Now, Jenn chose the hippo race.
I'm going to be a Space Hippo. Who's not excited about that? That's a spy. That is a spy. It's a spy Space Hippo.
That's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I've never played before. Anybody like understands like building a backstory and stuff, like please hit me up because I think I'm supposed to have that done by tomorrow. And I've never built one.
Yeah. We're going to be doing a off-stream session 0.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get the virtual tabletop set up properly by then. We'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Besides that, I don't think anybody else had any questions. Roy is also gonna be one of the players. I'm the dungeon master. I will be telling the story and weaving tales for our intrepid adventurers.
Yay, Ben.
I do the D&D as
yes. He was actually someone that I told about when we were doing character creation. I was talking to Ben about it because I was like, this is all new. This is fun. Hopefully my character is cool.
Yeah. Spelljammer in particular is kind of short of like it could be done in like 12 sessions, which for us would be like 12 weeks. So I plan on it starts at level 5 characters. So I plan on actually scaling things pretty quick so that you all experience some like pretty cool character development and leveling up. So I'm going a little outside the book on that one. I might even add like one shots here and there inside of the main story so that we could have special guests come in to the stream.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've got Ben, Bryn, Who else? We got people.
I get people DM me all the time now. It's like, can I join your D&D streams? I'm like, maybe.
I don't even know how I got into being on the campaign.
You were in a space and you said, "Can I join?" And I said, "Sure."
Oh. Figures. Oh my gosh, you said that Dan was a monk named Monkey?
Yeah.
A monk named Monkey. That could be a fun one. All right, y'all.
Don't name your hippo Hip or something.
What about hip hop?
Oh my god.
What about hippity hop?
Oh.
Could I name it like R&B instead, and it would be really funny? No? I was liking that idea. What about Do you know hippos are actually really scary?
Yeah.
Like they are like really scary.
They account for most the human fatalities in the I think it's the savannah or something like that.
Yeah.
Like far more than lions and crocodiles, all that stuff.
Cynthia, thank you for having my back here. I like it. Hippie. Aww. I like that. Okay. I'll share my screen.
Hip ops. The hippo. Hoppy the hippo. No, Roy.
Yeah, like, can we work on like trying to come up with a name? Let me share my screen.
Look, if you do R dot B dot and you have a good name for that acronym, I'll allow it.
No. Diva. Oh, can I do Beyonce?
I would be concerned about the stream's DMCA.
Okay, that's fair. Oh, there's even more names. Oh.
Hi-ho hippo. These are interesting names.
Right? Alvin? I mean, I don't think I can name a hippo Alvin. It's not a chipmunk. Yeah. Baby hippo names. Gummy bear. That's weird. Daisy.
I feel like they just scuba diver.
They dive underwater. Okay. Interesting. Oh, we got little hippie. So we could do little hip hop. Hippity hop.
Are you going to be a giant hippo and then call yourself Little Hippie the Hippo? I'm okay with it.
Maybe. It might happen. I don't know. This is going to be... There's different types of hippos. Famous hippos. I don't get why they like put other hippo names and then like these ones. Pink Pippo.
Hip hop hippopotamus.
Yeah. Yes. Dolph. Penelope. I'm not gonna lie, these ones like are starting to make me think about like Pokemon. All right, so we got some options of what to name my character. If have fun, Anthony. And if anybody comes up with like they think is like the coolest, most dopest hippo name ever, please DM me. because I have a day to figure this out? Or can I like figure it out by next week? I just have to have like a temporary name tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay. I feel like there's hope. I will figure it out.
Yeah. Tomorrow's gonna be mostly just getting familiar with the ping.gg setup.
Okay.
Me getting the stream set up, and I hopefully figuring out the virtual tabletop a little bit, and then getting y'all familiar with like where your character sheets are and your how you could like roll for stuff and whatnot.
All right. Well, bye, Ben. For everybody new hanging out with us today, please click that follow wherever down there. I think it's down there. And tomorrow we will be streaming about Next.js. I've done a little bit of Next.js, so this is to see if we can go through a full setup tomorrow.
Oh.
And like make changes because it used to.
Watch that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Same time, 4 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesdays is my mental health and neurodiversity Twitter space at the same time. So, yay! Thank you for coming on the show today, Jacob. Bye.
Bye.